Now then guys, it's turning really cold outside. I've got my hat on. I've just been to an air source heat pump job. Basically another contractor's been out and I just got asked to change the pump, but the system's not maintaining pressure, so I think there's a big leak on that. So that's going to be another job I'm going to have to go back to at some point. I went to a thermal store where the water was getting really hot. I think what somebody done is turn the boiler stat down, but then there was no, the radiators were really cool then, and obviously the hot water was quite cool as well. So the blender had actually gone faulty, so I changed the blender. Unfortunately on this one I had to use compression fittings because my gas lamp would not light. I thought the blender was going to be a straight swap. It was just a bit of a nightmare job, but I videoed it all. But I just want to spend a couple of minutes explaining what a thermal store is. I've got a diagram on my phone because I don't think I explained it very well in the footage that I got. So I'll spend 2 minutes explaining this and then we'll get straight into the video. As always, thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll get straight into it. I have to excuse the mess on the middle seat a little bit. So the thermal store that was in, it had a solar going in the bottom, and it obviously has got a separate coil for the hot water, and then the heating water's on the outside. The vent comes off the top, vent and cold feed, and then obviously you've got boiler flow and return. So the reason you have to put a blender on is because these thermal stores store the water, you need them about 80 degrees, 75, 80 degrees. The one we had was at 75. So this comes out the side of the cylinder and that blends it down. This is I think they call these L patterns. So hot water straight out the store, cold water in the bottom, and then mixed out. The one I had to put back it was a standard conventional pattern. So it was hot, cold and mixed. I had to jig the pipework around a little bit. There's a single check valve in the bottom, obviously, to stop the hot water going back into the main. Single check valve is fine because obviously it's only fluid cat 2, so that's good for single check valve. But yeah, thermal stores, I'm not a massive fan of them, to be honest with you. They do have their advantages because obviously you get mains water pressure without the need for like expansion vessels and PRVs and stuff like that. So your cold water comes through the coil, it's heated by the store, and then it comes out red hot, so you need your blender. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense than what I explained it in the video. So, and obviously you've got your heating out, so the heating water's on the outside rather than in the coil. That's the bottom one on there is your solar coil. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. It's like a cylinder but backwards. So the heating water's on the outside, and then the cold water's in the coil, and then obviously vented off the top. So yeah, that's what this system was anyway. There's not too many around here, but you do come across the odd one or two. And then obviously this blender blends it down to whatever temperature you want. I set mine at 41 because it was a kid's home, and obviously normally you could set that to 60 or whatever you really want, really. Obviously between 39 and 41 they wanted it for the blended outlets, so that was the one that was in. Unfortunately I couldn't get that one again off the shelf, so I just had to go for one that's designed for a solar. I prefer the ones that take the hotter inlet temperatures, because I find if you fit the cheaper ones, these sort of ones, they fail really quick. So obviously I know that's a 15mm one, so yeah, hopefully it should do the job. But as I say, I had to use compression on it because my gas lamp wouldn't light, and that one had gone faulty, so the water was coming out really hot. Right, I'm just changing the thermal store blender. The cold comes in here into the bottom, into the cylinder. So this is a blender. The water was way too hot at the minute, so inside there's a coil. Unfortunately the new blender that I've got that's an L pattern one, this is a standard one. So I've just got some of the pipework to jig. I'm carefully disconnecting it off this. Obviously I've got just let that breathe in a second. So what I'll do is get this pipe cut off. I need to alter it anyway because the feeds are different. I'm hoping the new blender can go straight back on onto them flanges, because these are really for a nut and olive, but we'll have a look. I'll cut it off here because I need to alter that anyway. The old one's a different pattern, so the cold comes in there, mixed is out the side and warms in that side hot, whereas the new one's a different way. Have to alter it. That's just the water find its level in the coil. Don't stop in a second. So it's emptying that coil down to that point. Let's just get the bucket. It'll stop in a second. Very much hoping that will tighten back up onto there. Like that, and then I just need to swing these feeds around. So my mix needs to go to that one, and then my cold needs to go to this one, so I just swing that back around. Probably need to cut that a little bit lower. That's the only thing with this. I'll use a compression on there, see I might be able to swing it round. on, it's not fit that space. We might be able to do it like that. If I do it like that, I can just swing that one straight across then, and then that one will just swing straight in. You can still get to that. So what this is a thermal store, coil inside here, cold water comes in, heating water's on the outside, it runs through here. You have to store these really hot, so like 75 degrees, 80 degrees, and then it passes through, heats the water up and it sends it out really hot. That's why you need a blender. It's also got solar on this. This is actually a special blender for high temperatures. I find if you use the cheap ones, they tend to melt. So this is good for 110 degrees inlet, and you can blend it down to whatever you want between 35 and 60, I think it says. So we'll double check the temperatures and we should be good. As I say, I know I've used compression, but I'm literally stuck in the middle of nowhere with no gas lamp, so get the job done. Right, I need to get my temperature gauge out, but as a general rule of thumb, if you can bear your hand underneath the back, that'll be about 41 degrees. It's warm, but it's not scalding. Before the water was coming out, that's absolutely scalding. Plenty of pressure on it. So, I think we're about right, but I will double check with the thermometer and I'll check all outlets. First job of the morning, I've got to change this heating pump. I think another contractor's been out and it's been leaking. So obviously the pressure's gone, they've got no heating. So we've valved this off. I need some grips on them, I think. And hopefully the new pump fits. I don't think it's the exact same one. We've got a new, well, it's a Wilo. It's a Wilo for Wilo, but I don't think they make that one anymore. So this is, I've been told, is the replacement for it. So hopefully that goes in there on the old unions, new washers, valve it off, should be an easy job, and then wire it back up. Somebody's left the lid off that, but we'll make sure it's isolated, nice and safe, should be alright. For easing, still some cold. Just get these. I'll actually crack that one now. The only thing with the Stilsons, they're a bit awkward to use in tight spaces, but anything that will do the job. And they can. It's never easy, no job's ever easy. and it shouldn't be, I think. Sometimes you aren't better off. I've got to get the top one yet. Not the noisiest, not the quietest, but whatever. There we go. Really goes for any pump valve. If you're struggling, just give them a whack, they generally move. Somewhat some move. They bind up. So I just accidentally dropped my GoPro, so I don't know how much that got, but basically what I did is whack the pump unions with the hammer, and then just unwind them with the Stilson. Sometimes to bind up, you need to clean them faces up, new washers, get the pump going the right way it's going down, and then obviously wire it back up, and that should be job done. But it goes for any pump union really. If you give them a whack with a hammer, generally they'll undo. I say I was recording, but my camera fell off because I was swimming with Stilsons and I think it corrupted the file. So we'll get this one bolted back in, that should be job done. just whip the cover off there to make sure there's no leaks above. We'll get the heating fill back up and make sure there's no leaks, get everything dried off. I think it's been leaking a while. All I've been asked to do is come in and change the pump. I think they use somebody else to do their air source heat pumps, so they'll have to check all their glycol levels and stuff. But it's just come through as a priority job to get the heating back on, so all I've been doing is to change that pump. So somebody else maintains and services this lot, and we just do the pump. But yeah, I'll get the heating back on. Obviously, fill it back up, wire it in, and get some heating back on from. So I've got a problem on this one. They reckons it's been a problem for the last 10 years. It's never worked. Obviously the fill loop connection's wrong anyway, but basically you top it up and the pressure goes straight away, it's gone. Literally you put it up to 1 bar, 5 seconds later it's gone. I think there's a big leak under the ground somewhere. I came to this one about 3 years ago. I remember it now. Obviously this expansion vessel was nowhere near big enough. It's knackered anyway. All I got asked to do was change that pump by another contractor. So I've been out and changed the pump, but I don't think it's going to fix anything. Of course, it's all underfloor heating. I imagine there'll be another manifold with a pump on it. All this will do is circulate around the primaries. But yeah, it's a tricky one because it's never worked. Obviously, we've got a 500 litre buffer there. It's not actually dumping it out the PRV, but literally, I'll show you. Get my sonic screwdriver on the job. I've not turned the pump on yet. It's probably why the pump's knackered. They said on the report I got, it said the pump was leaking and that's why it was losing pressure. Obviously this arrangement here is rubbish. Can't even look at the state of it. It's been topped up that many times. The thing's gone. Literally chop it up to where you won't even maintain pressure at 1 bar. So that's water going in. And literally it goes because it won't maintain pressure. So you can't even fill it up. I did manage to get it up to about there and it just dropped straight back down. So somewhere under the ground it's obviously losing the water. The heat pump's miles away, well not miles away, it's about 60 metres away. So I don't know, but obviously there's a big leak somewhere on it. All I have to do is just leave this working and then do a report, but obviously it's not good, the fact that there's no pressure in it, but there's not so much else I can do. Literally, it's got water in the pump. You can hear it. It doesn't sound that airy, but as soon as you top it up, the water goes. So I have to wait and see what happens.